12 years feels like it's gone by in a blink of an eye. And other times in the day-to-day, it's a long run. But hey, that's what we signed up for. So very, very excited, very blessed to be here for the 12th consecutive year of this luncheon. It would not be possible if we didn't have the continuity that we had within our staff and certainly in our administration. Dr. Caputo, Mitch Barnhart, myself, Mark Hill, Mark Oliver, Sandy Bell, all these people have been with me since day one. And, and really provided tremendous leadership. You may have heard a few things about me. Sometimes in the summer, get a little frustrated, get some things on my plate. But, sometimes in football, it's my job to take care of the football program. And you get stuck in my own little cave over there. But you look at the challenges that we have in college athletics, and it makes me feel very small because it's monumental. What Dr. Caputo, what Mitch and our administration have to deal with in the next 12 months is unprecedented. And we've already been dealing with a lot. And we've adapted and done the very best we can, and we'll continue to find creative ways, great ways to continue to be as competitive as we've been and take it to another level. And if you heard my comments at SEC Media Day, that's what we want. That's what we want. I am not interested in sitting here and just existing. I'm not interested in exiting. We're interested in finding ways and exploring ways to be the best we possibly can at Kentucky. And a big thanks to you, because the people that are here, I see here year in and year out, and you're constantly supportive of us. And we greatly appreciate that. I can tell you, heading into this 12th year, I feel as good as I ever have. And I know you probably heard me say that before, but it's true. I absolutely love our football team. I love our staff. I feel like it's the best blend since I've been here. I really do. The defensive staff, the continuity led by Coach White, who's going to come up here in a minute and talk a little defense as we get into X's and O's. We'll bring up Coach Hammond and Coach White and get into all that. But our defensive staff led by Coach White completely intact, so the continuity's there. And we have a lot of players that have returned with a lot of experience. So we feel very good about that. And then on the offensive side of the ball, I could not be more thrilled to have Coach Hampton come to us from Boise. He's a guy that I spoke in depth with years ago. And so I've always had my tabs on Bush and what he's doing offensively and how creative he is and just the person he is. The other newcomers that we have is Kickoff Shorts. Comes to us from Houston. He's a young wide receiver coach that does one heck of a job. He's all business all the time with those guys. He holds them accountable. He's taken them to a whole nother level, and I'm very, very thrilled. I feel like it's the most depth we've ever had at the wide receiver position. And Kickoff has done a wonderful job of managing that group, because it's just like myself coaching DBs for a long time, it can be challenging. He's done a wonderful job. Then, of course, the other third newcomer to the staff is a guy that's been here once before, and we're very excited to have him back in Eric Wolford, coaching our offensive line, and just real, not only with the coaching that he does, but the ability that he has recruiting. It's truly another level, and very grateful to have him back to kind of set the tone to be what we want to be what you guys want to be, and that's a tough physical football team. And it starts with the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. I've said that the first day you ever heard me speak, and I'll say it until they roll me out of here. that you have to be physical, but we also have playmakers now. We got to have a quarterback, you have all the other pieces, but you better be tough and you better be physical. So I love where we're at there. I feel like on the special teams side, Jay Boulware does a remarkable job of coaching. He's a big-time coach. He's a good coordinator. He does it in the offense side of the ball. He's a coordinator on special teams, which he is and has done, and he's done a remarkable job in that area. And of course, you know, Vince Morrow, who heads up our recruiting, we're off to a tremendous start again this year. And we got to keep on going. We don't know what these new rules are going to exactly fall in place, but we got to be full steam ahead right now. And Coach Morrow and the staff is leading up that charge, and great things are happening. We're off to a really good start on the recruiting front.
With all the experience that you...
I felt like you had to cut me off there, huh?
I
was running a little bit.
Well, okay. We've been doing this long enough, I'm trying to read your body language.
No, you're good. Yeah.
You're getting this started practice here in a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
Are you, with all the experience that you have, are you in a spot with this team this year where maybe you kind of have a pretty good idea of how the pieces are going to fit together? If so, what are the kind of priorities between when practice starts and that game on the 31st?
Well, a couple of things, Tom. They've given us a little more autonomy than they ever had, with allowing us to spend more time with our players, which, you know, we as coaches love. There used to be some rules that were, some of them were kind of silly. You could be out there, you could walk through, you can't have a ball, you can't do this, you know. And they've really loosened up on a lot of that. And our players are here working all the time. So when people ask me through the summer, oh, when are they coming back? When are they doing things? They really never stop. And our coaches really never stop. They do need time. Our coaches have to get out here a little bit in July, or their wives will kill them and their families, you know what I mean? And they need some time to break away. But when they're not on vacation, they're here and they work with our players. We work with them every Tuesday and Thursday, just about, you know, all year long, very early in the morning. And so it gets us a little bit more ahead. It also, you know, with the new offensive coordinator, it lets us get a little more ahead. You know, and so with the turnover that we've had with the offensive coordinator, I don't feel as stressed about it because I feel like these guys are so organized, they've had so much time, and have worked really hard to be able to just not miss a beat and get right into it. So it's, you know, as far as our approach, how will it change? There are things I always tweak, always look at. Things last year, you know, that we did, maybe we did early on, maybe mistakes I've made, maybe. There's always going to be that instinct, that gut feeling of like, we have our plan, we have things we've done, but that doesn't mean we just keep it exactly the same. We're always constantly looking at things and ways to improve. You know, we had to alter a little bit in the spring. You know, we had some injuries at the nose guard position. So anyway, we have a good solid plan, and the coaches have done a great job, and we feel like we're definitely, as we should be because of the rules, we're much further ahead right now than we've ever been at this point.
We'll bring the guys up.
Sure.
Offensive coordinator Luncheon, coordinator Brad White, please join us up here.
Yeah, I thought you, good morning. You guys have heard from myself, heard from Coach White, which is always good to hear, but you have not heard from Bush, and I'm sure he can tell you a few things about the offense, and you'll love hearing from him as well as Coach White.
We'll have you guys pass on the mic. Let's start with Coach Hampton here. Coach White. You come into this with a plan, certainly from your past experience, but how did the personnel that you found here match up to the plan you wanted to put in place?
Yeah, I'm fortunate enough, and I've said this, I feel extremely blessed. You know, I think this, the job these guys have done to acquire the talent they have on this offensive roster is exciting. And I think, you know, through the process, there was just a lot of alignment, you know, from Coach and Brad and the style of defense they played and and what we like to do offensively. Again, there's a lot of similarities to things we've done in the past, and we're excited about our depth.
Everybody always wants to know about the quarterback when it's somebody who hasn't been a quarterback here before. That's going to be the case. So talk to us about the quarterback room and how you feel about that position.
Certainly excited. I really feel this about Brock. I mean, he's an old school throwback type player. He's a guy that this is really important to him from a leadership standpoint. I think that was always the starting point. Anytime you have a guy that's coming in as a transfer, the expectations, how he can mesh with the rest of the team, I think he's done a tremendous job. He's a player that's got a really nice skill set, can run it, can throw it. We're certainly excited about him continuing to take the next step. I also believe this. I think there's 3 other guys in the room that have a lot to offer as well. And, Cutter Bowley, the freshman we brought in, is as talented as a freshman as I've been around. Gavin Wimsatt, a transfer, is a big 6'4", 230-pound player. And Bo Allen's really done a nice job taking the next step as well. So excited about the competition throughout the offense, but certainly in that position.
I said microphone to your left, if you would, to Coach White. We'll talk a little defense with Brad White, who has a lot of names back from last season, and in the places where you did need to shore up a spot, depth, whatever, it seemed like the transfer world that worked well. You got what you needed in spots there. So as you go into practice, you've got a lot of guys that know your defense and know what you're doing. How will that help you be able to maybe expand what you have done in past years?
Yeah, I think honestly that's really important. If you look across our 2B, I think it's 18 or 19 have been in the system 3 or more years. I mean, and that's a huge piece. They understand what we're trying to get done. To a point, some of the older guys that have been here 5, and you got a guy like JJ, you're moving into that 6-year realm where they can sort of read your mind in terms of, hey, listen, this is what you're calling, this is why you're calling it. They understand situational football. So all of that stuff is important, but I think Coach made a great point earlier. Every single year, you have to go back and you have to look and say, okay, listen, what tweaks can we make? If you just sit there and say we're going to be stagnant and we're going to just keep doing the same thing over and over, offenses are too good and systems are too good. So we have to have small tweaks in there. I think the guys have adjusted well to those. We've been able to work on some of those newer things throughout the summer, but also understanding what are we at the core, how can we play fast, and letting those guys play fast.
Deion Walker's a guy that gets all America mentions, all conference mentions, had a tremendous second year. What could a third year look like, best case scenario for Deion?
Best case scenario, obviously be the most disruptive defensive lineman in the country. And when you have that guy, it doesn't matter what level of football. If you have a disruptor on the defensive line, it changes ball games. And there are things that he knows that he's done really, really well in the past. There are still some things that, hey, listen, he's only been in college for 2 years. There are things that he can improve upon. He's been putting in really good work throughout the summer, and I think he's ready and poised to have a big year.
Yeah, I was talking to him recently. He was talking about how he wanted to be more assertive as a leader off the field. He felt like he was maybe doing that on the field, but he wanted to be able to take more of a role off the field. Have you seen him embrace that?
Absolutely. You hear him, you hear his voice. We talk a lot about in the program of guys finding their voice. And he has very much found that, and obviously is a big voice, and it stands above the rest a little bit. And so, as long as we can continue to channel that and harness that, in the right direction, I think it's going to be really positive, not just for our defense, but for our entire team.
I have the microphone back to Coach Stoops, so I'll get him to kind of comment on how it will work between the two of you. I know because, Mark, you have made no secret of the fact you want to see the team be able to get more plays on and to play at a faster pace this season. But there are also times when you got to lead in the fourth quarter, you want to slow it down a little bit. So tell all these folks what you're kind of looking for in terms of that balance.
Well, definitely. I think, the bottom line is winning games, right, Tom? I mean, and everybody can relate to that. I mean, we have to win games by any means necessary. And heck, you could go back and, to the job, and he's on my staff and does a wonderful job with Eddie Grant. And we were just talking, Tom, you and I were just talking about the year of the pool.
Yeah, the 2019 year when you had to change it, put a wide receiver in a quarterback.
Yeah. Just the creativity that Eddie Grant had. We did the things necessary, like defense, ran the ball, quarterback run the ball, and just by any means necessary. As we progress, as we start recruiting impact players, guys like that need touches, one of the conversations Bush and I talk about now is number one, the urgent to get plays off faster. I mean, there's no secret. Heck, before Liam, we made a change or anything like that, we were talking about that because I didn't like it last year. I didn't like the fact that we're always getting down to 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds left on the play clock to get plays on. We have playmakers and we have to get the ball. Now you give them a variety of ways, and we're all a team, right? Defense needs to get some 3 and outs. We got to get field position in special teams. Offense has to get first downs. The more first downs you get, the more plays you get off, the more guys are going to touch the ball. Then you're not going to sit there and worry about, the running backs getting fed, the tight ends getting fed, and the receivers making plays. So we have playmakers on this team, and that's part of it. One of the conversations Bush and I had early on was he going to adapt to our terminology because our players have been through a lot. One of the main reasons why I didn't is, number one, we had time, the rule changes, that we had to spend with players. And the biggest thing was I wanted Bush to be comfortable making those plays, because when that pressure's on, your habits are going to come straight to the surface, and his terminology, his play call, his comfort level, I wanted to be with him. You know what I mean? And I want him to be confident and roll, how he's going to go. With the play calls, the tempo, all of it. There's going to be a variety of things. We're not sitting here saying we're going to try to snap the ball with 30 seconds on the clock. But I can tell you this, I get tired of snapping with 1 second left, like 2 seconds left, or whatever. You know what I mean? So I want to have some rhythm and some tempo to it. So I'll hand over to Bush and let him expand.
Yeah, let's talk to Coach Chairman. You can expound on that a little bit, and also talk to these folks about the new development in the game in terms of being able to communicate with the quarterback through his helmet, and how will that, if at all, change what you can do offensively?
Yeah, to the tempo point, I think Coach hit on just about everything. I mean, we think about extremely sharp turns of the steering wheel, if you will. There's going to be times where we have the ability to play extremely fast, kick into like our 2-minute operation, one-word calls. There's also times, as we know in the fourth quarter, with how we play defense here, we can run that clock out and do whatever it takes to win the game. So we're right there in the middle. We got the ability, to do both, for the reason that it always comes down to winning football games. I think the communication piece can be a huge advantage for the offense. I don't know how Coach feels about it, but there's just a level of comfort. We already know huddle operation, so it's that comfortable feeling from the coordinator to the quarterback to be able to have that communication. Certainly, we are going to be practicing about every 4th day of what happens when that goes out. Just to make sure that we are able to still function. We know what it's going to look like when we go down to Tennessee and Ole Miss. It's just going to happen to be glitches in the Wi-Fi, and then they'll go out. So, but we're excited about it. It'll allow us to play faster. It'll allow for our players to communicate the pre-snap, and that's something we always focus on.
Let's go back to Coach White for a moment, and with that experience we're talking about defensively, you know who a lot of the guys are, but there are a few additions that have come in. Talk to us about how the guys like Jim Goose Johnson, Pop, you guys call him, an inside linebacker, Waller on the outside, and the secondary, other guys that can help you as a story and safety.
Yeah.
How some of these guys that have transferred can help you.
Yeah, you know what? I think the way we sort of use the transfer portal defensively is that we use it to supplement, needs. And obviously, with Trevin being a 3rd-round draft pick and needing to sort of bolster that inside back room and to be able to bring Pop in, brings a lot of SEC game experience. his short area quickness and his strength and his strike, it's really unique and it's special. And then he's surrounded by guys in that room like Garrett Jackson who've been in this system a long time. So they can act like translators as he's sort of processing through our defensive terminology. But those guys, they all pick up really well. Christian Story the same way. You think about how deep we are at that safety position this year. You've got guys like Zion Childress and Jordan Lovett, and as well as Ty Bryant played last year, and him coming in as well as he played as a true freshman. You saw it in the spring as a true sophomore, just the command that he had back there. So then Christian can come in, and there's a comfort level that any one of those combinations you can play winning SEC football. And so really excited about that. And then DJ Waller there at corner, obviously, we feel really good about Max and where he is and where his progression is and his mindset. And then the competition opposite that, I think, is going to be really strong. And I will say this, I think a lot of people forget that Max was a first-year starter last year. He only had one rep the year before, in that Vandy game. He comes in last year, he's a starter. There's always somebody waiting if there's competition. And this year there's going to be with Jansen Dunn and JQ Hardaway and DJ Waller. We've got a lot of bodies out there that are going to be able to compete. And, they don't always have to take the whole workload. They can pass it amongst them.
We'll go back to Coach Andrew for one more question about the running back position, because Kentucky lost a guy that was uber productive, Ray Davis, running the football, catching the football, sure have a nice long career in the NFL. So that's a lot of production to replace at the running back spot. I'm sure you don't expect any one guy to do what he did necessarily. So what does that position look like for you?
I think, Tom, you said it, a little bit by committee. It really wasn't just last year. These guys have had 7 straight years of 1,000-yard rusher. And being in this conference, the physicality that they played with up front and what the backs have done. And so certainly a lot of decisions have been made in the offseason. Again, one thing with us even taking Gavin Wimsatt was him supplementing some of the runs. So we'd like to hand the ball off close to 30 times a game. We're always thinking about, okay, how many times is this guy going to carry and that guy? Again, we've got a bunch of backs that we think can be successful at this level, and we're excited to get going.
Mark, we want to ideally get folks back to work around the top of the hour, so any final thoughts?
Yeah, just once again, just want to reiterate, thank you so much. Like, it just takes support. I've said many times. It takes a lot of us and a lot of people and a lot of support. And thank you very much. And to my staff, one plug that I have to give them as we're busy and getting ready for season and doing all the things they have to do. We went and had an event Saturday for Coaches for the Kids, and every one of our assistant coaches, our whole building pours into that event to help UK Children's Hospital. I'm very proud. I just got the numbers before I walked in here. And Rob Cooliron, who's in the audience, kind of heads up that committee and does a remarkable job amongst so many others. But we went ahead and then one night this past Saturday raised almost $1 million, $950,000 in one night. I appreciate you. Thanks for everybody in here. We are excited. We can't wait to kick it off August 31st. Right there, we'll be ready to roll. I'm very confident in this group. I'm confident in the staff, and we'll be ready to play.
And this Saturday, don't forget, it's fan day at the Joe Craft Center next door, just outside gate 12, that's my right. Open to the public, weather permitting. So see everybody there. And on August 31st, thank you for coming out.
Thank you.